geoholic.
Here we go.
You excited?
I am so excited. This is one of our favorite events every other year.
Oh, yeah. Every other. I wish it was every year.
I do too, but I can only do Vegas so much.
And I forget that it's every other year.
Yes.
Because a lot of the people that I've seen so far, I have already been like, oh, so good. It's been a year. Like, no, it's actually been 2 years.
I know it. So let's let the good people know. We are at TrimbleDimensions 2024.
We are.
Streaming live from Las Vegas, Nevada.
At the beautiful Venetian Hotel.
This place is great.
And the massive conference center over here.
Yes.
I mean, when you walked in and you just look around, like it kind of takes it. I mean, I don't know. It's like I was taken aback, but it's just like the expansiveness of this is wild.
It's massive. It's massive. And speaking of beautiful, look who's here.
Yeah, we have the lovely Peter Cox here.
She has joined us here in Las Vegas. How exciting is this?
Took a short little plane ride over here.
Just a tiny one.
Yeah. How have you been?
I've been good.
Are you excited about the show?
I'm so excited.
It's only day one.
I know.
It is only day one.
And we got so much to get to over the next few days. As Sean mentioned, just kind of walking around the exhibit hall here and seeing everything that's here, all the really cool new technology, all the business partners of Trimble, just really great energy in the room. Yeah. Really excited.
I mean, it's going to be. We got an action-packed a couple of days
we
here,
do
right?
Indeed. We love it that way, though.
Oh, I know. The day flies by. You meet a ton of people. I mean, it's always a blast. What are you looking forward to the most? You're actually speaking at a little thing here at Trimble, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. So Davey and I and Michael talking about our education. Typical thing.
Oh yeah.
Funny that.
You can probably recite that one in your sleep.
I could.
When is that? Today or tomorrow? Wednesday. Okay.
Yeah, Wednesday. Awesome. So lots of interviewing for me, for my podcast, and you guys, hopefully I'll get to do a bit with you guys. And I've got a few jobs to do.
Yeah, we got a lot going on.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you? What are you looking forward to?
What am I looking forward to? Just like reconnecting with people, honestly.
Yeah.
A lot of our friends of the program are here, which is great to see. And we brought them some gifts.
We did.
I can't wait to deliver them.
I know, right?
Yeah, so reconnecting and just... making new friends. Last night was a great example. The happy hour Michael Dix hosted generously, and we were invited to.
Yes.
Had a great time there. Met a lot of really cool people, and from all over the world.
Yes.
Met a couple people from England and Ireland and just all over the place. This is like a mini Intergeo in a way.
So we're gonna get one of them on over the next few days,
nice.
James.
Let's do that.
Oh, cool.
Yep. Learn everything there is to learn about serving in the UK, right?
Yeah.
And then we have many interviews lined up with mostly Trimble, a lot of Trimble folks. So obviously it's the Trimble show, and that's the big hubbub here. But I'm looking forward to the Trimble experience.
The Trimble experience, I like that. Good stuff. That's why you're the producer.
That's right. Yeah, I like all the. At some point, there needs to be a little dog that walks by.
Yes.
I'm sure there will be.
Definitely going to be a dog that walks by.
Did you see the truck?
Oh yeah, the Cybertruck.
Cybertruck up the front too.
Ooh.
Yep. With the Trimble scanner mounted on the back, and cool stuff. Anyways, Geoholics, thanks for listening, and stick around. We're gonna have a great time.
Yeah, absolutely. Look forward to it.
All right. First one of the day.
First one out of the day, out of the gate.
Let's get this going, right? You gotta break down that initial barrier.
Right.
And this is gonna be the springboard for what I think is gonna be an incredible day.
I have the same feeling.
Yeah. A lot of good energy in the room. Really excited to be here. Let's get this going. If you guys would, just real quick, self-introductions. I'll let you go first, Michael. Just name who you're with and what you do, and then you can go next.
Mike Tartaglia, Sitech Southwest. I am the technology and software consultant for them.
Gotcha.
Chris Kellogg with Sitech Midway, digital construction professional and consultant.
Okay, so Sitech, your Sitech Midway, where is that located?
Northwest Indiana, Illinois, and Eastern Iowa.
I was wondering if it was Illinois. Yeah, gotcha. And you, of course, are?
Sitech Arizona and Nevada.
Right on. Okay, so in your role, what do you do, Mike? what's your main what's
can we take a step back?
You can do whatever
What's
you
the
want,
elevator speech on Sitech? I mean, you guys know each other, but I just met you, so what's Sitech?
Sell Sean on Sitech.
Okay, Sitech is a technology company for Trimble. We sell all of Trimble software, hardware, and survey gear. So that's what we do, and we're all tied to our local cat dealer. So whatever territory the cat dealer has is the same as us. So I'm with Empire. Empire owns Arizona territory, Nevada territory, and a portion of California.
Okay.
Wow, that's a big area to cover.
And I do all of the support and training for it.
Okay.
Nice.
And I'm with Altor for Cat out of Northwest Indiana, Illinois, and Eastern Iowa.
Interesting.
So I always like to say the reason why we get along great is because we have those territories set up.
Yep.
And we can springboard ideas off of each other. We never worry about somebody cannibalizing clients and customers.
Yep.
I have a really good friend in Indiana for Sitech Indiana.
Yep.
All of us have known each other forever.
So
we have each other's back. That's the difference between our other competitors.
And is Sitech nationwide, or is it just certain regions?
Worldwide.
So what's the connection with Cat? Is there an ownership thing there? Like you said, you're with Empire.
Mm-hmm.
So how does that look?
There's Empire Technology Holdings. So how it worked at one time was Trimble, when they got rid of Spectrophysics and became Sitech, they said it had to be aligned with a cat dealer.
Nice.
And that's how that happened.
Yeah. It's just like a natural partnership, really.
Yes.
That's awesome. And what are some of the advancements? I know you do a lot with like machine control and that type thing. What are some of the advancements that have taken place recently or are coming down the pipe?
A lot of it is reality capture is a big thing coming out. Where now you're able to, go out there with the SX12 and scan data, and then send that directly to Trimble Connect, which then could go into Business Center, but then you can also view and utilize that scan data in Trimble Connect, where you can share the data amongst other parties that don't have software.
Yep. In Trimble Connect, I think that's a tool that not enough people use, right? Like they have it available to them. Talk about Trimble Connect a little bit and just kind of the value that plug-in, for lack of a better term, brings.
To be honest with you, I'm kind of new to that part of it. Because it's kind of been progressing and building on itself. So I'm going to rely on
why don't you
my older brother, Michael, here to train his little brother from Northern Illinois.
So Trimble Connect started out mostly as a file sharing and transferring tool. And what they've been doing for the past few years is slowly but surely adding to it and developing more and more with it, to where now somebody is running Trimble Access, which falls more into the actual hardcore survey side. They have the ability to go directly from their access to connect, and then connect to Business Center, and then back from Business Center to connect back out to the field. So they were using that as interplay. On the construction side, we have a thing called Works Manager, which does something very similar, but it doesn't have a lot of the built-in tools to be able to share files pretty readily with other people outside of your company, like to connect. And that's something that's starting to migrate onto the construction side now. So we're dealing more and more with that. And how I got into it is I deal a lot with mines. And mines need to share data very quickly. So we're instituting a lot of that in the mines.
So on the training side of this, what's the biggest challenge that you have in connecting all your customers with the resources that are available?
For me, the hardest part is there's so much to learn, and everybody is at different levels. But they want to know everything at one time. And that has been the hardest thing to do, is to get people to understand you have to baby step. And in the industry we're in, which you all know, is fast paced. You learn something today, well, guess what? That's old news. You're on to something now tomorrow. So the hardest thing that we've been finding is being able to baby step the clients and getting them up to speed.
So is that like you finally convince them that scanning is the way to go? They have the hardware. They go out there and they do a scan, and then they immediately say, why can't I see this on my phone?
That's right. And believe it or not, we do have that. We have a thing called sight vision.
But I'm sure there's several steps training that needs to go into.
Almost definitely, yeah. And there's guys, like I do a lot of drone work. There's guys that'll fly the drone, to bring it in the business center, and now they're like, okay, where's my point cloud?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you got to process it, and then
What does that mean?
and then they get the point cloud, and they create a surface, and it has all these elongations on it and bumps and everything, and they're like, it's not smooth. Well, we got to learn how to. We got to learn.
Oh, this piece of junk!
Yeah, exactly. So how do we clean it up? So then you got to teach them. There's steps in order to get to the final product. Yeah, that's been my hardest.
Interesting.
I have a joke from our family's company because I was actually a client of Trimble's.
Okay.
Back in 1999, we had the first ever machine control system in the U.S. It wasn't military. So our inside joke with my mentor, my head estimator, was when my partner would come in, he literally thought we'd just copy and paste it off the civil engineers onto a data card in the dozers. And I literally bought a Staples easy button, that joke. When you would leave the room, I'd be like, well, that was easy, we're good. And everybody knew the joke except for a certain partner. Because there's workflows like Mike's talking about. And what Mike and I try to teach is upper management and the people that are actually doing it, that, hey, it will get you there, will get you the best product possible, but there are workflows to get you the best product possible and the most precise model possible. Right. And we'll help you with the accuracy of that precision.
So you can't just feed the plans into the data collector on the dozer.
You know what? If we were able to do that, and we had figured it out, we wouldn't be sitting here talking.
Yeah, exactly. It would have been done by now. You'd have a booth over there.
That's right. I'd be sitting on the beach, and my wife, who's an accountant, would just be going, "Yep, the money came in today. The money's there today."
We'll get there. Yeah. We'll get there.
So what about like on the hardware side? What advancements are taking place there?
Well, on the hardware side, a lot of the virtual realities are starting to come out, where you're able to see on an excavator, being able to see what you're actually digging. That's awesome. The other thing that is coming into play is being able to put all out of this tool on skid steers and box blades, so you can put full GPS and stuff onto it. Yep. Being able now to take what you use as a rover head, and you can embed that onto a boom of an excavator, and with your data collector, you can now use that to dig a trench or a foundation.
So cool.
Interesting.
Yep.
So are these things going to become autonomous?
Eventually, I think it's going that way.
Yeah. Yep. Like, why not?
I was working with a client recently where the bulldozers are fully autonomous.
Really?
I taught them how to fly the drone, get a 3D model, point cloud information. I helped them, train them with a set plan, set thing, line work, and the bulldozer with Cat Command is following that line work. Someday I'll tell you what the client is, but it's a pretty cool project I've been helping on behind the scenes.
Right. We can't say, but he's brought me in. So
yeah. And honestly, that's because I literally paid for my college by driving a D8 bulldozer and 627 scraper to pay for school. So then they called me as a consultant to be like in the machine and try to picture what the operator maybe in a different country needs to learn how the machine and the capabilities and the limitations, and then put all of our technology into it. But then I have the operator mind I grew up on a farm around machines my entire life.
Nice.
So that's honestly why my GM hired me, because he knew me from back then. And he's like, and in my training classes, that's why I try to put myself in the machine from back when I was doing it, when I was younger, and saying, okay, how am I going to make our data, our information guide that machine to do the accuracy that I remember from running the bulldozers.
Yeah.
And then Mike and I, compare notes all the time. We talk on a weekly basis, most of the time joking around about stuff, but sometimes some serious stuff. Right. And I say, hey, like I need the bulldozer to do this, like what I used to. Yeah. Show me a tip and trick. And we always joke around. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. That collaboration is so important.
So is that where you see this going next with all the technology? Is autonomous? Is that really the focus, or is there more you can do on the software side?
There's a lot we can do on the software side, but to answer your question, yes, it is going autonomous. A lot of the mines are really starting to push to the autonomy end here in the United States.
And I'm curious, how do they view the safety side of that? Because the first thing that you said when you're like, oh, why not? I'm like, well, I can think of like a lot of reasons why you would not want to do that for safety reasons. But there's also the safety of the operator, and I'm guessing they're how they're weighing those pros and cons.
I do not know off the top of my head.
Yeah, I would think for my world, and another way that Mike and I knew each other, we met here 15, 16 years ago at Con Expo, at the top of the Bellagio. I think it was Caterpillar's anniversary party or something. They had a whole to-do. But I think what I'm seeing it as is making the operator more efficient right now and safety concerns.
Yep.
As long as that operator is doing the best they possibly can, most efficient, and then safety-wise. Because we had a background in the landfill businesses, both of us, Mike and I, and you don't want humans around mining and environmental issues. So I see that as the goal right now, and then it'll springboard from there.
And I'm guessing there's a stepping stone into this, kind of like I use the example of the Tesla automated feature. You have to be at the drive. You have to be in the driver's seat, and every so often you got to move the wheel, like you're still there. So I'm assuming there's some. It's not just all right. We're just going to do it remotely, and we'll see what happens. Right?
Yeah, the technology is expanding. I mean, from the time we were reading verniers to all of a sudden there was an EDM that went on the top. You thought you were the cat's meow because it gave you a distance on the top, to total stations, to then a geodometer, to then GPS, to now GPS running all the time on machines, to GLONASS, full constellations. So I see a lot of things happening in regards to this.
I love when Mike gets excited about surveying, because he comes from the survey world. I literally come from the farming and dirt world, moving huge mountains of dirt. So he geeks out over surveying and these terms that I'm learning from him. But if he wants me to talk about dirt and topsoil and soils, testing and all that, I jump in.
Right. Yeah, see, and it's like the landfill business. When I was in the landfill business, we used to have to send a guy up on the slope to check the 3-to-1.
Sure, yeah.
Now with GPS, we send the model directly from the office right to the machine.
Yes.
Nobody actually has to go to the machine anymore. We remotely send it, and then the machine manages that slope.
Wow.
So we don't even have to be up there anymore, but we can monitor it from the office.
Yeah, to build on that, in my world, we were managing quite a few landfills in northern Illinois. A lot of our family, our success was awesome family members that were my managers, and then friends, like in 4-H and the ag community. I didn't want my family and friends on environmental waste facilities.
Oh, yeah.
So now with the drone technology, that's why I'm jumping all in on that. Honestly, because I remember I didn't want my people in those safety concerns, those risks. It even translates to roading. Throw up a robot in the air so you don't have a human down there with live traffic. Because honestly, that scares the hell out of me. Because we did it a little bit with my family years ago, but have something out there scanning it, bring the data in where it's safe. Getting away from all of those safety risks, whether it's environmental waste facilities, big highways, roads, mining.
Oh, it's all exposure,
Yeah, you can fly that above the mine where there's all those huge machines and maybe cave-ins and all that, borrow pits that I used to run into. I would fly it with the drone instead of having literally my family or myself. I used to have to do it down in borrow pits and stuff, which is just scary.
So maybe it won't be autonomous. It'll be like Tesla's Optimus 3 running.
Yeah. What are you guys most looking forward to this conference?
Just seeing, catching up with, other people that you've dealt with that you haven't seen for years.
Sure.
Seeing other technologies and, teaching classes.
Oh,
I
nice.
like to teach.
I think Mike hit it on the head. We were literally having breakfast this morning, and we were laughing and joking, comparing war stories of the last 25 years. And there's a very nice lady across from us that's also presenting. And she came up to us and was like, "You guys are having way too much fun for a Trimble conference." And she was amazing. And honestly, she jumped in and we were all joking around, and she was telling us what she's run into. And she had the exact same stories we have, but a different industry or different concerns or pain points or whatever. But at the end, she was at her table with us. And we were all joking around. And honestly, that's why I love coming here, talking about what you love, what you're passionate about, learning from somebody else in the room. Because she was telling us stuff that we kind of understood, but it was like insights that opened my mind up. I'm like, oh, she's running the same thing. Maybe we can build on that on our end. And then Mike gave her some very very good recommendations.
Yeah,
that I'm
awesome.
sure she's gonna. It was awesome.
Nice. So how do people find out more
in
about
regards-
what you guys do? About Sitech?
Well, we have a website called Sitech Southwest, and then I also have 10 actual support sites and classes that have multiple videos.
Okay.
And they can find that at SitechSouthwest.retrieve.com.
Perfect. You got anything to add there?
Yeah, they can find us on sitetechmidway.com.
Okay.
We're working on building all those tutorials and videos and everything. I got to quit driving around my drone and sit down. And again, have my buddy my brother across the table from me, trying to give me some tips and tricks of what he's run into. And that's what I think is beautiful about the territories. Like, he's not going to burn me. I'm not going to burn him.
Right.
My good friend in Indiana is not going to.
Yep.
Like, literally, we build on each other. And honestly, I will say from a client, we had a lot of GPS machines. The reason why I went with Trimble was things like this. Like any competitor, unfortunately, I kind of see them cannibalizing each other, and I don't think that's going to be a long play.
Yeah.
So, us building on each other is totally the difference in our Trimble networks than what I've lived and Mike's witnessed for a long time.
Yeah, we're actually teaching a class together.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
At 1:30.
Yes.
Two separate site techs are going to be in the same room.
Okay.
Exactly.
Nice.
Awesome. Well, hey, thanks for your time, guys.
Yeah.
Well,
Appreciate
appreciate
it.
it. Thank
Thank
you.
you for getting us going here.
Yep.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us on.
Enjoy the rest of the week.
Thank you
It's
very
always
much.
good to see you.
You as well.
Yep.
All right. Rolling right along here, Sean.
Yes, we are.
This is going to be a great conversation. I'm really looking forward to finding out about this new reality capture platform that Trimble has. So real quick, if you would, just self-introduction, give me your name, who you're with, which we know, and what you do exactly.
Yeah, no problem. My name is Chris Trevillian. I'm with Trimble, and so I've been with Trimble for almost 14 years now.
14 years, wow.
And before joining Trimble, I was the land surveyor in the state of Colorado.
Okay.
For about 8 years or so.
Yep.
So really working in the field. My first day was, Trimble GNSS in hand. So I've been in the Trimble family for over 20 years.
20 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in those days, I was starting to get introduction into reality capture. I would say in the early days of scanning, but it's really come a long way. I'm involved in the product management side,
Nice.
so mostly with the product go-to-market. So developing the messaging around products, what problems we're actually trying to solve for our customers, and then delivering those value propositions through product development and release cycles with new products. So
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about this product because it's pretty new, correct?
it is. Yeah, it was released at Intergeo, so about a month ago. And it's been in the works for quite a while, but it's the Trimble Reality Capture Platform service, and it's built within our Connect ecosystem, so the Connect environment, web environment, and it's brought as an extension to Trimble Connect, and specifically for reality capture and imagery data, and what we are unlocking in that platform is really the democratization of scanning data. So bringing the data to users that aren't prolific with scanning software, right? Like you don't need a dedicated desktop software.
Yep.
So the scanning professional can now bring the scanning data in the field that they've captured, do design analysis and things like that in the web for customers that are not, let's say, sophisticated users of scanning equipment. So that's really the premise around what we've been doing. We're trying to, increase the share of the geospatial footprint and the knowledge that we can bring in that reality capture space in the field, and bring that to more people in the office, more stakeholders in the office, so that, we're already seeing like a 10-to-1 utilization of contributors of data versus consumers of data. So if I'm uploading, then 10 people are in some way consuming some of that scan data. So it's really, really powerful tool to extend the capabilities of point cloud utilization.
Well, you said the magic phrase there, the democratization of reality capture data. And I'm curious, that's a tenfold. What do you think it was before on who was viewing data, scan data versus, how is that improved?
How is that improved? Well, I think the biggest thing is just the access to the data is improved, right? I don't need to export my data in some sort of viewer. I don't need to do anything that's, sending data somewhere. It is just ready for consumption. It is processed, and the nice thing about the data that we have is every individual point is an actual three-dimensional point. And we worked really closely with Microsoft to develop this tool and to speed up the visualization and the rendering elements so that we're actually looking at the real point cloud data and not just some either dumbed down or some like rendered model of the point cloud data. And what that means is you can actually do real work on the point cloud in analysis on the point cloud in the cloud versus on a desktop machine. So in terms of going back and answering the original question, I don't actually know what level of incorporation, like let's say an architect that's using SketchUp today.
Right.
Like, are they going to download some sort of 3D point cloud software just to kind of look at how design and real world are aligning? It's going to take a while for them to actually get that incorporated and kind of and analyze the data. Whereas what we're doing with Trimble Connect is we're allowing you to bring in design data or a BIM file, let's say, or something, and then overlay the point cloud on that and see in real time. You can see the information right in front of you, and get that information extracted very, very quickly and easily from a non-expert point of view.
Yeah. So who's benefiting the most from this new tool?
Who's benefiting the most? There's a lot of folks. So, I mean, first it's the data publishers. Are they're reaching a broader audience. And I think that's one of the key messages for us is when you look at Rob's presentation this morning, if you're in there, is connecting the people, the data, the workflows, and the ecosystems around all of Trimble. So we are really taking that collection source and getting it into the workflows of more and more people. So we're benefiting by reaching a broader audience base. The survey customer set is reaching a broader audience base, but also people that are decision makers that never, they don't care about point clouds. They care about making decisions on clear information. So if I can present to them something that shows either a clear conflict or something's in tolerance or whatever it is, they can move directly to decision making, whether that's paying the contractor, whether that's revising the work that's been done and reissuing a change order or something like that, and get an RFP issue. So
and it's a very complicated process. There's a lot of people collecting data in a lot of different ways, and I think one thing Trimble's really good at is trying to keep it simple. Right? And trying to take something that is very, very complicated and, I don't know, for lack of better words, dumb it down and make it user friendly.
Yeah. So a key point to that is so the data authors, there's still some integrity there's still a lot of integrity, in our profession, right? We are assumed to be the people that control the integrity of the data, the quality of the data,
like that,
right? So there is still this authoring process that happens, whether it's in Trimble Business Center or some other software like that, where we can make sure the data is registered to geodetic control, that the data has that initial integrity before we actually publish it, right? So that we're still maintaining a bit of control, but once it leaves our professional grips, we want to make sure that the people can, make it easy to use and utilize it in a really like web-friendly ecosystem. So I don't know if you've tried it. It's actually an extension available to any user on Connect. We have 31 million users on Connect, and anyone there can just go and flip on this extension and start ingesting their own point cloud data with their projects and trying it out. I would encourage everybody that's listening to do that.
Definitely. And Connect is amazing. And it's funny you say 31 million registered users, right? Of those 31 million, what percentage do you think are actually utilizing it to its fullest potential? Because it is a very powerful tool.
That's a. Don't quote me on this. No, No, I don't really have an answer.
Sure. But do you think that's a general trend of most that have access don't know what all the tools are available, or they're only using a certain sliver, and then going back to how they did it 3 years ago, and then because I guess the example I can give is collect all this data and then let me find a way to process it in the office, and then I'm going to get it somewhere, and then I'm going to render something, and then I can put it on the Trimble Access so some more than one person can use it. Is it more about connecting all those dots and kind of getting it in there first and utilizing that platform throughout the whole life cycle?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I think if I take it from a pure geospatial point of view, I would say the platform is underutilized for what it can do. I think a lot of people don't actually realize that if you have a valid license of access or TPC, you actually get Connect inherently, and you can utilize it for field to office file sharing and making sure that all users in the field are on the same version of the file. But to kind of dig into that, double click on that point, I think like the persona really defines the workflow and what tools they're leveraging in the cloud, and that's the beauty of Connect is like the extensibility part where you can develop your own API calls into Connect to do whatever it is you want to do. If that's pulling down and integrating into your own ERP system and things like that. So we have users that are very sophisticated, and it's probably very, I would say, very deep, not as broad. So they're very defined on a certain workflow. And then we have kind of the general users where I think could leverage this platform in a much greater extent. But
could you give us some examples of some of those users that are maybe outside that traditional geospatial community that you're kind of tailoring this to, or you've seen some benefits there?
Yeah, so primarily the first version of Reality Capture platform was really targeted to where we had, I would say, the most extensive user base that's existing and the most probably comprehensive users of Connect today, which is the vertical construction market, right? Typically they have, like IFC files or BIM plans where they're already coordinating their project around. So, from a project-centric point of view, I think that's where Connect is very, very strong today, and that's where we're trying to leverage this first and foremost is in like a vertical construction space. So we have a really rigorously defined model. It updates every once in a while. We can push updates immediately, real time to the field, and now we can bring in this point cloud data, and it can be from we just drove our site in Westminster with an MX90, which is the mobile mapping unit. You can bring in terrestrial laser scanning data. You can even do, for a really non-professional user, you can just use your iPhone to kind of scan certain site conditions. And if you have like tags on the wall, April tags, you can actually position those and show kind of progress tracking on these vertical construction projects. And that can immediately lead to tagging like RFIs, right? Like I need requests for more information or more work or something in these specific areas. I would say that's like really where we're strong today. And it gives us a good leg up with a sophisticated user base that's already there in Trimble Connect.
Interesting.
So Connect really is just kind of a landing spot for all the stakeholders basically to be able to have access to and track the progress of the project, right?
Correct. And contribute to the project and all that good stuff.
Awesome.
So where do we go from here?
Where do we go from here?
I know you spent all these years getting this thing rolled out, and then you're going to have amazing success because that's what you guys do. But what's in the lab now working on the next what's the next version? Are you going to continue to update this one, or is there another?
Yeah, obviously I can't speak to specific.
Of course, that are coming. Confidential.
What I can say is, yes, this is Connect is our platform. It's our collaboration platform. The Reality Capture platform service is very much an extension to get more and more of this data together with the stakeholders and the project decision makers. I think if I go back a minute to what I said about the integrity of the data that is in the cloud there and how closely we worked with Microsoft is like we were very intentional about bringing the full point cloud integrity of the data. That means every point you click on has a very, I'll say field defined X, Y, and Z. And it's not just some interpretation of a point cloud. It is the actual data as it comes in. So when you think about having that raw data, the real point cloud data, you can now apply processes. You can apply like feature recognition and things like that on that data in the cloud without having to download it, pull it back into your Office software of choice, do some analysis. So we took an extra bit of time to set the stage for all these things in the future that I can't talk about. But there's really good work and process to leverage what's in the cloud today.
Yeah. So it sounds like there's some there's some more
that was
layers. Right.
Yeah.
But what I hear you saying is you've got it all there, and you didn't take the shortcut of getting it to a point where you can just make it look pretty for now.
Yeah.
Because there's more stuff coming, and there's going to be a lot more that we can use this for, but it's still always going to be in that hub.
Yeah. I don't want to knock on anything any of the competitors that are out there, right? But it really comes down to utilization of the data, right? Visualizing is one thing. Yes, making decisions on the data is very important. And sometimes it's just a visual element that you need. But in most cases, you need a little more sophistication on, let's just call it like, I don't know, scan to BIM analysis or surface to scan analysis, things like that, that actually require the integrity of the data behind it. And that's where we're focused on, is that integrity.
Because when you open it up to the stakeholders, you have to, we don't use the word dumb it down, but you have to present it to something that they can ingest.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
And then that group is usually also really good about asking hard questions from that. It's like, okay, that looks great. Now tell me this. Yeah. And then you're like, oh, shit, I got to go back and figure out how to do that.
Yeah, exactly. One more question before we let you go, because I think you'll have an interesting perspective on this. So, we're in this like technological evolution, in the whole geospatial realm of things. And it seems like it's kind of cyclical, like the hardware takes a jump and then the software has to catch up and vice versa. Where do you think we're at right now in that process?
I think with, I don't want to be too cliche here, but with the advent, with the leaps and bounds that software is growing with today through this AI revolution that we sit in, previously, like you said, scanners were so, I guess, far ahead of the software, and we were able to create so much data, and it was almost like a data burden, to a point where you just had too much and you had to filter through it. So I think some of the things that software today can unlock is actually extracting information from the data in a much more automated way, and I'm really excited to see, some of the tools that we've recently released in TBC. Whether it's like the pavement analysis stuff that is built on foundational elements of machine learning or AI, whatever you want to call it, and in extending those capabilities, I think like the data is the gold mine of information. But it's turning that data into information that is so critical. And if we can reduce that lead time to actually getting information and making decisions, then I think we stand to benefit as a professional in whole.
Yeah. It sounds like there's still some more runway in the software capabilities before it can do everything, and then there's going to be another.
Sure. Yep. Yeah, really good stuff, Chris. Anything else that we haven't touched on that you want to get out there?
No, I think
covered it.
Welcome to Dimensions. It's really great to be here. It's really great to see so many people from around the different disciplines, like we talked about, and hearing their stories about how they're integrating reality capture platform.
Yeah, it's exciting.
It is really exciting. So
definitely.
In Trimble Connect, click the button for reality capture. Is that how you find it?
Yeah, if you go into the settings menu in Trimble Connect on the left-hand menu bar, you can go into settings and there's an extensions tab, and you can just slide on the reality capture service and try it out for free. You get 10 gigabytes, I think, for free.
Okay, that's awesome.
And so you can, bring in some data, utilize it, see how it works for you, and then we have paid options by terabyte above that per month. So
fantastic. Cool. Good stuff. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, thanks for coming by. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Appreciate it. Yeah, you too.
Thanks.
Bye.
1, 2, 3.
Fire and fast and furious.
Let's go here.
I love it.
I'm excited. We got a couple students with us.
Nice.
Yeah, so real quick, if you would just give us your name and kind of, if you're working in the geospatial world, let us know about that. And tell us about the college you're going to.
Hello, everyone. My name is Marla. I go to the University of Florida, and I am a senior geomatics student on the geospatial analysis track.
Okay.
And I also worked for McKim and Creed over the summer doing some right-of-way mapping. I'm trying to get into some LiDAR extraction projects. But
Very cool. That's a great company. I'm familiar with them.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead.
My name is Christian Hayes. I'm also a geomatics student senior at the University of Florida. But I'm on the surveying and mapping track.
Okay.
This summer, I worked with a company called Echo, doing a lot of DOT work, alignment work, that kind of stuff.
So cool. It's really exciting for us to talk to students.
It is.
We don't get to do it very often, but every time we do, it's just like
a couple of unicorns here.
Remotivates me. It's like there is future here. There is future here. So talk about the track you're on. I know it's different than his. I'll let you go next, but talk about the track you're on and kind of like what you want to do.
Yeah, so I think the first year is actually really similar to the survey and mapping track. We don't have many discrepancies and differences in our course load, but this year I have the opportunity to take more geospatial electives. So I took a precision agriculture class, which was integrating GPS into agriculture.
Nice.
And I'm also taking a geospatial analysis class in the spring, which I think goes more into the analysis part. So talking about accuracy and using the data that's collected by surveyors and geospatial users.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like to go into UAS mapping and dealing with drone imagery. I think that's very interesting. And I also think that that is kind of the future. And, geomatics, that's kind of what got me into geomatics was drone usage in UAS. So I'm very excited to learn more about that field.
Okay. And, obviously, University of Florida has a great geomatics program.
Well, there's more than one track, right? That just blows me away.
I know, it's amazing. So talk about the track that you're on.
Yeah, so the surveying and mapping track is similar in a lot of ways to the geospatial analysis track, but we deal a little bit more with traditional surveys, less of like the UAS and the aerial surveys.
Yep.
Deal a lot with the cadastral side of surveying, the history of surveying, and it's
cool.
Less tech focused.
Okay, that makes sense. So how did you get into geomatics? What drew you to it?
Kind of a coincidence, to be honest. I
looking
through the course catalog and saw some cool pictures of geomatics students and thought it was fun.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Marla, how about you?
So I started out at UF as an aerospace engineering major, and I got into it for a few years, and I just decided that was not for me. There wasn't a lot of hands-on. It was all theoretical. It was all physics-based, and it just wasn't fun. And I mentioned having an interest in drones. I had flown drones in high school, so I really, really wanted that hands-on experience. And I was kind of just scrolling through the UF catalog, and I saw, a picture of students holding aircraft, and I was like, that's what I want to do. I think that's really cool.
Yep, that's awesome. And you guys are not going to have a problem finding a job, I can assure you of that.
No, absolutely not. We have companies come into UF all the time trying to get us to work for them.
Yeah. So, how did you guys end up coming here to this event? I mean, it's so cool that you guys are here, all the way from Florida, first of all, and of course, being students. That's really exciting.
Yeah, so part of it was funded by our student organization, the Geomatics Student Association, which is a chapter of the FSMS, the Florida Society of or Florida Survey and Mapping Society. And the other part was reaching out to Earl Soder of Duncan Parnell, who is the distributors in Florida for Trimble equipment. Okay. So we are just so lucky as students to have the opportunity and to make those connections, to have these trips and opportunities at the conferences.
Yeah. Got anything you want to add?
No, I think.
Did you have to win it? Did you have to win a contest or something, or how did you? Well, let me ask you another question first. How big is the department? How many people are on your perspective tracks?
Not a whole lot. There's a little bit more on the surveying and mapping side. I'd say maybe 30 or 40, and then maybe 20 on the geospatial side.
I think the stats actually, for at least mine, is 14 for geospatial. It's quite low compared to surveying and mapping.
Yeah.
Well, it's still way more than other states, I can tell you that, or in other universities.
Yeah. Are there other geomatics programs in Florida, or is University of Florida the only one?
There is one at FAU. It's about the same size, and allegedly there's one at Everglades University, but they're kind of secretive. We don't know much about that.
And who wants to survey the Everglades? That sounds horrible.
So how did you guys get picked, or how did you guys come here? Did you volunteer, or was there a big line, or?
So we are both officers of our GSA organization.
Okay.
So I'm the ROAR officer in charge of our social media and correspondence with different companies and organizations. And then
I'm the secretary, so I deal a lot with any kind of busy work.
Okay. Is it just you two, or are there other students here as well?
We have 3 other students with us.
That's
President,
amazing.
Vice President. And,
that's amazing.
President.
And are you guys making sure to take part in some of the presentations and stuff like that?
We're trying as much as we can.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a lot to take in, right?
We went to one on the Phase 1 P5 camera system and integrating AI into the workflows. So that was really cool.
Awesome.
What else are you looking forward to this week?
Just learning a lot, honestly, talking to industry professionals and also learning about the technology, because I think that's a big draw, especially for younger people in surveying, is what technologies can be used and trying to integrate that with traditional surveying and geospatial processes.
Awesome. So what about some of the cool technologies that you're getting to work with? Talk about that a little bit.
I actually don't quite know what we'll get into. I'm going out to the Field Expo tomorrow.
Okay.
A lot of the equipment we use at school is pretty old. So I'm excited to use some of the new stuff, the new toys.
Yeah. It's Trimble equipment though, right?
Yes.
Very cool. Awesome. What else? What do you guys want to get out there?
How far along are you in your? Are you juniors or seniors, or how much do you have left?
Yeah, so we're both seniors. We're going to be graduating next spring.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
that's exciting.
You want to move to Arizona?
Yes. If you're interested in hot weather and sunshine, please move to Arizona.
Right.
I mean, there's all kinds of opportunities.
Yeah. So I got to ask you. Being a female in geospatial, right? It's obviously a male-dominated profession. Was there ever any hesitation for you?
A little bit. I mean, I think sometimes when I'm thinking about going into the field, I get a little intimidated just because I'm not quite sure about. I don't know. It's a little intimidating being in a group and working with a lot of guys. But I'm trying to make my own. Had a great time over the summer in my internship. So
nice.
Overall, though, a lot of the people I've met, the guys and everything in my program, they're really great people. So,
Awesome. Very cool. You got anything else, Sean?
I'm just curious on your next steps. You're going to have this big, long line of employers. What are you looking for in a company to work for? Or what advice would you give employers that were maybe trying to hire people like you?
Pay them a lot.
Let's just make sure that's a given. That's going to happen.
Money is important, but also to get licensed in Florida, we have to have 4 years of responsible charge. So any company that promotes the access to that 4 years of responsible charges is huge for me.
Yeah, that is huge. Yeah. How about you? Anything else to add?
I'd love a company that allows me the opportunity to do both office and field work because I really value the field experience. I think that's what a lot of traditional surveyors are looking for in professionals and young people going into the industry. So I think that's very valuable, especially companies that emphasize technology as well. I think that's a good resource. For the visiting companies when they visit our school at our meetings, I think something that's really valuable is giving us their experiences and also asking what they can do to help us as growing professionals. We may not, choose to go to their companies, but even just giving us some sort of advice and really taking the time to care about us and, figure out a plan with us is great.
So you're saying mentoring is important.
Yeah.
I love that.
Interesting.
Love that. Good to hear that.
It's a common theme that we have here on the show.
Yeah, for sure. Well, hey, thanks for taking the time to join us. Great conversation. Good luck in your careers.
Yeah. Enjoy the rest
to a great start.
Enjoy the rest of the time here.
Yep.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, let's go.
Let's do it.
Yes, we're hitting our stride in the middle of the afternoon.
I know, right?
So awesome. Yeah, I mean, we got 2 hours left, maybe 3. I'm not sure. But when you're interviewing on a consistent basis, time just flies by.
And especially when they're interesting.
Yes, exactly. We got another interesting one here, too,
absolutely.
for sure. I'm going to learn a lot on this conversation.
I got a feeling you will.
That. You might even learn something. All right, so we got Mike. Mike, if you would just real quick, self-introduction, give us your name, who you're with, what you do.
Yes, good afternoon. I'm Mike Barrett. I am with PENNDOT. I work in the photogrammetry and survey section of PENNDOT.
Okay, nice.
We were in charge of photogrammetric mapping throughout the state.
Wow, that's a big job. He's like, yep, it is. It is. All right, Chad, go ahead.
I am Chief of Surveys underneath Mike for the Photogrammetry Surveys Department.
Okay, all right. So what's your guys' connection to being here at TrimbleDimensions?
We use a lot of the Trimble software and equipment for surveying.
Okay.
Mainly in ground control to support the photogrammetry.
Yep. And so have you worked in the public sector for a good part of your career?
I did, yes. I graduated from Penn State Wilkes-Barre in
nice.
1999, and I worked up until about 2009 in the private sector.
In the private
before
sector?
I came to PENNDOT.
Okay. How about you, Chad?
Pretty much the same thing. I graduated Penn State Wilkes-Barre in 2004, and I worked in the private sector until about 2014 when I came here.
Nice. Have you guys known each other for a long time?
No.
Not really, no.
What drew you to go to PENNDOT?
I was starting to get to the point where I just kept bouncing around consulting firms and kind of got sick of it. I just interview with one firm after another, and I got an interview with PENNDOT, and I said, that's probably the landing spot.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. So you like working in the public sector?
Yes.
Yes. Awesome. He's not going to say no.
Oh, of course.
Not going to say no. So you guys are working on a couple cool projects. Was it wall monitoring of sorts, right? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, we were tasked with identifying any MSE walls throughout the state that we would have to scan and monitor over a 20-year period. Yeah. Roughly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they were given a certain parameter of length by height would fit into that, wall that we would keep monitoring every year.
So what techniques are you using to do that? Is it like a LiDAR collect? Is it, conventional survey? How are you monitoring it?
Well, we decided to go with scanning. Some are terrestrial, some are mobile.
Gotcha.
Depending on the size of it.
Yeah. Gotcha. And that's where the Trimble connection comes in, I'm assuming.
Yeah, we use Trimble scanner. Well, we initially started with some different equipment, but we eventually turned into Trimble.
Okay.
And talk a little bit about why you ended up using the Trimble products.
I guess it started with the GPS units. The GPS units were really user-friendly, and we liked the way they were progressing with the technology and the accuracies and everything we got with them. Awesome. And the support, we're getting really good support with them.
Yeah. So how accurate does this monitoring have to be?
Well, obviously it's within the spec of the instrument, so we're a quarter inch or so, up to a half inch.
Yeah. So this is like a statewide program. Is that my understanding?
Yeah.
How often are you guys monitoring these?
We on
or surveying them, I should say.
Yearly basis.
Every 5 years, and then if it has issues, then we go back every year to 6 months, depending on what the district wants to.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So give us a little perspective here. Like, how many of these walls move? All of them to some degree?
So far, we've seen 2 out of 170.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. That's reassuring, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the engineers did their job. Yeah.
So what constitutes a problem? Is it half an inch? Is it what does it look like?
About over a half an inch. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So there's a lot of moving parts. You got control on the ground. That's a little bit of error. You got your setup error. You got whatever error in your mobile mapping. So about a half inch or so.
Sure.
And you guys are coming back every year or every 5 years to the same. How do you line that up? I mean, I'm sure it's not easier said than done to come back 5 years later and then get a scan that you can just exactly overlay with the last one, right?
Well, that was what we ran into. Obviously, we've only been in our position. I've been here 3 years, but a little over a year.
About a year and a half.
Yeah. Okay.
So last year we finished up the rounds, and they were like, well, pull the old data in. And I said, well, what's the old data from? And it wasn't compatible, so we had to go buy a different system to make it compatible. And then, then we basically said, okay, I think we started in 2012. That was the baseline scan, and then every one after that is compared to the baseline scan of, okay, is it the same? Has it moved? Has it shifted out of plumb?
Yep. Right. Yeah. Talk about the workflow a little bit. I'm curious because you said some of it's mobile collect, some of it's terrestrial collect. Talk about merging those data sets and why Trimble's software is really good for what you guys do and have to do.
So we just did a proof of concept of one of our vendors on the MX-50 there. We were looking into purchasing one, and so we, up until this year, have done everything terrestrial scan.
Okay.
But we have some giant, we actually have the second largest MSE wall in the U.S.
Really?
Our state. It's like 2.3, a little over 2.3 miles.
Holy crap.
So to scan that conventionally was taking us,
oh my God.
Yeah, I mean,
forever.
By the time you finish, you just go back and start at the beginning again.
Yeah, the Great Wall of Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
I love it.
So we talked to our Trimble partner, and we were like, he's like, well, why don't we try to scan it with the mobile scanner and see what results we get?
Nice.
And it came out good, and actually it cut way down on the control we needed.
Oh, yeah, sure.
You're not sitting at point every 150 feet down the road.
Right.
And from a safety, Yeah, you don't have a guy out there for
Yeah,
a month and a half standing in traffic.
Yeah,
trying to
exactly.
Scan a wall. And
Yep.
So it was really comparable to, what we're seeing out of the terrestrial scanner, and it was in a long run, it'll be way more cost effective to
Oh, sure.
use a system like that. So
That month and a half is cut down to what, a couple days or something like that.
yeah,
right?
you're talking a week to set the control and about an hour to drive it, maybe. If that.
Wow. Yeah. So how do you prep the field crews to do this project? What does that part of the workflow look like?
Well, we got somebody to go out and set the targets, survey them, level them. And then we had the last time we had a guy drive it, so we had to just coordinate that.
Okay.
Came out and drove it and transferred the file over to us.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So do you need like a whole big police escort to clear the way? Is this like a big extravagant thing that blocks traffic for an hour?
Usually we just have, because we're kind of finding out roughly like 45 mile an hour is kind of the sweet spot to scan stuff.
All right.
Nice.
That's not too bad.
So, if it's on a secondary roadway, it's not bad. If you're trying to go down I-79, that's a little bit more of an issue.
Yeah, for sure.
So normally what we've been doing is the scan vehicle with lights on it, and then like a follow car just to try to make sure someone's not
blocking
3 feet behind the scanner.
Yeah, sure. Right.
Trying to pass them going down the road. But that's usually about it. We'll throw some signage up that says, hey, survey work ahead.
crews,
But
Right.
No, we did have a separate project in another district where we had a different scanner we had already purchased, and that was quite a logistical nightmare because you can only go about 25 miles an hour. So we had 2 lead cars, two trucks, and then we had the scanner,
Gotcha.
and then 2 cars behind it. It was a 4-lane divided.
Yeah.
And I think the speed limit was 45, but there was a downhill where cars and trucks. There was a quarry there. There was a lot of tri-axles going down real fast. So that one was a little bit more logistically planned out.
Yeah. Talk about the software platform a little bit.
TBC, we've been using that for quite a while now for all of our scanning needs.
Okay.
And the mobile side of it is really it cut down on the processing time by a lot.
Yeah.
So knowing what you know now, what other applications do you see going forward outside of just wall monitoring?
We've started, for a few years now, we've had the consultants do it, but we're looking at if we can get a mobile scanner in-house, bridge deck clearances,
Okay,
anything like that.
Yeah.
There's a big push now in the state to try to categorize a little more often all the bridge deck clearances.
Yeah, I guess it's a problem with tractor trailers hitting our bridges. So
I can see that, right?
Whether it's a matter of them overlaying the roads too much or whatever it is, but they're hot on that.
Well, let's see. I thought there was a bridge collapse
I-95.
not that long ago. Was that what it was?
Yeah, right outside of Philly. But it was an accident where a tanker truck got in an accident.
Okay.
It was full of fuel, it caught on fire. And
Yeah. There's not a lot you can do about that.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the mobile mapper we had the opportunity. Well, if we had it, we would have had a lot more I3R jobs. They're called just basically like resurfacing of the road, where you can do a quick mobile scan of it and get a pretty good surface of it, and you get your slopes and your your crowns and your supers pretty accurately, and then you can go in and mill and fill it properly.
Gotcha.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. Because traditionally you're either guessing or assuming it from as-built.
Yeah, or just visually looking at it, So,
yeah. So what is the deliverable? Is it just a point cloud, or is it like a heat map or something? What?
Actually, it's a surface. We've been given the design crew surfaces. Yeah.
Got it.
And then how do you communicate those findings to everyone else, especially on wall monitoring? You just break it down like. Do you have something visual that they can
Trimble
see?
Connect, buddy. Trimble Connect.
We could. Currently, what we're doing is putting a cut fill map vertically on it.
Oh, okay.
And then we'll tell it, percent tolerance is at 800. So
yeah, and so it kind of jumps out at you, right?
Yeah. So then we set it. We can send them the actual. Some of the designers don't have TBC, so that causes an issue. But if not, we'll just send them a PDF of it. Hey. Here's the wall where it's red. There's an issue.
Right.
With the mobile map, obviously, to send a PDF of 2.3 miles, you can't
Specs. Right.
So what we worked with our dealer was, if you put a base on the bottom of the wall, there's actually a station offset report you can run. So we put one at the bottom and one at the top, and then it actually tells us how out of plumb it is in either direction.
Okay. Yep.
And you can set it for whatever you want, every 5 to 500 feet, and it runs a nice report, gives you the station, offset, which direction, left to right.
Nice.
Spits it out in a CSV, and we can just email it to the designer, the consultant, or whoever needs to go to. And
nice.
It's easy for them to look at. Engineers love to look at their numbers and spreadsheets.
Oh yeah. You can't get too visual with engineers. Like give it to me in a CSV file
and confirm.
It'll jump off the page.
Yeah, we kind of had to use our vendor helped us out with that too. Like as far as using the tools within TBC to kind of figure out what tools to use in there to create those things too.
Sure.
There's not a clear cut path for it.
Right.
Yep. So you said you just wrapped up a proof of concept, right? What were some of the challenges along the way that you guys encountered before you got to the point? It's like, okay,
you're gonna have to come to our session to hear that.
There we go.
Yeah, you're letting the cat out of the bag a little bit there. Yeah.
Nah, just kidding. What do you?
We use pink paint for our targets, and that, for whatever reason, the scanner just picks up white so much better than pink. So,
really?
Yeah, that was when they drove it. They were like, we didn't use the proper size targets because originally it wasn't a mobile scanner job, but
right.
Yeah, he was like, if we do another one, he used white. He's like, it's really hard to pick the pink out of the.
Okay.
Interesting.
With the reflectivity of it. So
I think we also figured about a third of the cost roughly with the mobile scan.
Oh wow!
Wow.
Definitely, about a third of the time and half the cost of man hours, but a third of the time. So that's 3 jobs you get done in the amount of 1.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
And you don't really, you don't really give any accuracy up for it either. It was you're finding almost equal accuracies between the terrestrial and the mobile.
Nice. That's awesome. Trimble likes to hear that, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
What else you guys want to get out there?
Yeah, I don't know. We're trying to expand our drone work with our photogrammetry, as far as what we can do with that.
Okay.
Trying to find some little applications here and there. We're finding roundabout studies are a pretty good application for it.
Okay.
Or
makes sense.
Areas where we flew traditional photogrammetry, but district might come back in a few weeks and say, we need a little bit more mapping here or there.
Yep.
Instead of putting another fixed wing up in the air, we could just send the drone out and do a little more mapping and tie it in that way.
Nice.
Yeah. We had a district that did. We had a rail bridge, a single track rail bridge over a river that you couldn't access by foot, or a person couldn't walk on it without going through all kind of problems with the permits and everything. So we were able to do some a flight with that and do a 3D rendering. So we like to keep expanding on that.
Right. Yeah. You guys got a pretty robust aerial mapping group, it sounds like.
Yeah, we have our mapping manager's been there over 25 years. He has a ton of experience. He's a certified photogrammetrist. He has a good relationship with a lot of people within the district.
Sure. Yeah. Awesome. Anything else, Chad?
Not off the top of my head, no.
No? Well, we appreciate you guys joining us.
Absolutely.
This is a great conversation. I learned something.
I thought you would.
I did. Mental notes.
Don't use pink.
Don't use pink. There you go.
Appreciate you guys coming by.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
You bet. I'm excited to have this conversation.
Yes.
This is going to be great. So if you would, real quick, just self-introduction, just give us your name, who you're with, and what you do.
Hi, my name is Swathi Kottali. I'm the VDC regional manager with Yates Construction.
Okay.
So Yates is one of the big companies, and we handle large projects,
Okay.
battery plants, casinos.
Oh,
We
wow.
do a lot of casinos as well. And currently, I'm handling
Yep.
one of the casino, which is $800 million
Wow.
casino.
Where's that
It's
at?
a big size. It's in North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Yeah.
Is that like in the mountains?
Yeah, it's called Kings Mountain.
Okay.
The city's name is Kings Mountain.
Is it a Cherokee?
It's Catawba.
Okay. Yeah.
What are the tribes?
Yeah.
Gotcha. That's exciting. So what brings you to TrimbleDimensions?
So we use a lot of project side and Trimble Connect in our projects. So we depend a lot on project side, and that's where we put all our data. So I wanted to just come and experience how the TrimbleDimensions would look like, and any new products that they can offer us. So.
Right. Yeah. And so far, what do you think?
It was great. I get a chance to see a lot of different integrations that Trimble Connect is going to bring up, which is so cool.
Yeah.
And also I had a couple of things in my head because we were using, because I used to work in a different company before and we were using something else, some other products. So I was just wondering, okay, can we have this here or no? And then when I came here, I'm like, oh, that's so cool. You guys have these different things. But sometimes what happens is you really don't know what are the other integrations that you have.
Yep.
You get so busy in your work and you just keep going. So and when you come to places like this, and then you're like, okay, we have this, so let's do this. Like, we can plan around.
Yeah, that's awesome. So in your position as VDC manager, first tell us what VDC stands for.
VDC means Virtual Design and Construction. Yep. So we build a building even before it's on the real site. So we build it virtually and we make sure everything is right. Everything is coordinated. All the data is perfect, and then the real project starts on the site. Okay. So that we can avoid a lot of costly mistakes, so they don't have to go into the field and do the coordination and figure out and fight between each other. So so we built everything virtually.
Awesome. So that virtual model that you build, is it like, how accurate is it? Is it like millimeter accuracy, or what does the accuracy look like?
Well, and accuracy in what level too? Like,
well, just like whatever the design dimensions are supposed to be,
So in this age, it's very accurate.
It's not like a little model you build in the office, out of construction paper and sticks, right? It's an actual full on to scale.
Yes.
You can use it for field measurements.
Yes. Okay. So it's basically, we use a Revit tool where we can actually have a lot of integrations with Revit, and our designers use Revit. So they design everything. We bring the real site into that Revit. Okay. So it's coordinated with GIS, and we bring the real site, and the surveyors, everybody is in Revit, and they all use it real time. So awesome. It's very accurate. And then once we start doing, we actually go and do the scans and everything. It's very real.
Yeah. And it's happening real time then, right? Because as the building is being constructed, is it being scanned every day, basically, would you say? Is it that often?
We don't really scan every day because it's not going to change much every day. But
milestones, maybe?
Yes, we have milestones, but then we do compare with our schedule and make sure everything is coming on site, which is done later on. But in the earlier stages, we have designers, GCs, and our trades. Everybody is in the virtual space, so everybody is looking at the same building, same space, and we all are discussing, and we know when should come what, and what trade is coming first, what's coming next, and how they're going to do it, so that we don't have any problems.
So you're not putting up windows before you have roofs or that kind of thing.
Yes. So most of the times what happens is, the most experienced people can visualize in their head, but not everybody can do it. So especially when you're doing this and you're showing the schedule and the model, they really understand what exactly is coming on the field, what's coming next, what's your next 60-day schedule looks like, what's your critical paths look like. So it's all well coordinated. So we make sure, for example, the mechanical systems and electrical systems, all the systems, we bring the model and make sure it's all done and we sign off.
Okay.
So nothing has changed. So it's set to stone, and then it just goes and they build it on the site.
So it sounds like you got this all figured out. Where are the holes, or where can this process be improved in some of the stuff you see now here?
So there are a couple of areas where we can integrate different technologies that we see here, because what happens is we go back and forth on different tools. But now, instead, you can just integrate everything to one tool, and you can save a lot of time, which is something that you get to see in these expos.
Yeah. So talk about how having the ability to do this with all the technology we have available to us, how has this improved the coordination and the collaboration with all the stakeholders?
So 10, 15 years ago, it was so different. Not every trade was doing it. Was just maybe like an architect is coming up with his architectural model and like, oh, this is how the building may look like. That's how it used to be. But now it's so accurate that we actually bring the real products that you buy, and those are integrated. So you're technically making a digital twin of it. So when we give it to the owner once we finish everything, and owners, it's easy for them, right? They can go back and check if let's say there is a problem in some ceiling later, like 5-6 years. So they exactly know what product it is because they can go into that model and they can check, oh, okay, this is the system that we have used it and how we have used it and how it is done. So they can always go back and refer the virtual building. Which makes it a lot easier for clients and everybody, and who is responsible.
When you guys are gone. So you basically deliver a full 3D model as built.
Yes.
After everything is done.
Yes, I should say we are giving the digital twin of what is built on site.
Right.
And how do you compare that with the design? I mean, I'm guessing it's just a perfect reflection of the design, or there's some deviation there, right?
So as they build, we do the scans too, right? So when you scan, you actually go back and you compare. So it shouldn't be that bad, even if something has changed, we make those changes and make sure everybody is responsible of those changes and everybody knows, what has changed. So which makes it a lot more
easier. I would think even for like ordering materials or having materials delivered to the site, that type thing, this has got to be a huge tool for that.
Yes. So based on what we have built, what we have done virtually, and how we have coordinated, that's how they go and order it. And that's how it's all prefabricated. So it's all a process, taken care ahead.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have an example of where what should exist, what you think exists virtually, just doesn't match what's really out there, or is it usually pretty consistent with the model? Like, you guys are all in Revit looking at it virtually. Has there ever been a case where out in the field there's been a discrepancy there?
It used to be before, but now things have become more accurate. So we actually go and scan them, right? So now you know what is happening, and if anything changes, it shouldn't change. First, it shouldn't change. Even if something has changed, we know, and we are like, okay, you can't do this. So the trade is responsible for that. They got to fix it.
So like these massive projects, it sounds like those data sets have to be huge. Like, how do you manage the file size?
So currently we have improved systems. So now we deal everything on cloud. Everything is on cloud.
You don't have a big massive supercomputer at the office that dims the lights when you turn it on to process all this?
And then suddenly your computer shuts down and it crashes. And you're like, oh my gosh, what do I do now? But you don't have to do that anymore. It's and also we used to have only few people who handle the stuff, but now everything is on cloud. Being a project manager or project executive, you can just go and open it and see, oh, okay, what is that I'm looking at? Is there a problem? So it's basically we all talk, open that, and just keep talking about it and fix the issues. So
man, that's amazing. And you can, like, anywhere, right? I mean, you can access this information from anywhere. So it's
from your phone, from your iPad, anywhere.
Amazing.
And we give that access to the owner. So owner can also open just and see and see what's happening and how it is. And where exactly are we working? Is it matching with the schedule or not matching with the schedule? Or are they, so whatever the GC is promising, are they doing or not doing? Right. So they know everything now. It's all there.
And what's the feedback been like from the owner's perspective that you've seen?
I think I love it.
So far, they love it. And in fact, I was showing them not only just that, but with the glasses, with the 3D glasses. Through with the 3D glasses, and they enjoyed it. They were loving it.
What's that? Now, what is that platform called? Is it like Site Survey?
It's Meta.
It's Meta. Oh, okay.
So we connect that with another third-party service, and we upload our models there. And then when you wear it, you can actually walk inside the building even before, and the client can see how his building is going to come back. if he really wants any changes, he can come back and say, oh, you know what?
Yeah.
This looks
I don't like this door right here. Move it over there.
Yeah.
Right. That's awesome.
So basically, it's very transparent. We're not hiding anything. Everything is very transparent.
Yeah.
So they are loving it.
Oh, yeah.
So who doesn't like it in this process? Is that the subcontractors that now they get called out
They're
when it's
ultimately
very
accountable.
clear that
Yes, they always push back a lot of
Yeah.
stuff, especially when we are coordinating everything. We are like, oh, guys, you know what? You got to model this. And they're like, oh, we're going to figure it out in the field. We are like, no.
that's not how it works anymore.
Not anymore.
Yeah, right?
Because
awesome.
you come and fix and do something and you go back, but then there is another trade who has to come and do their work.
Yep,
So
right.
that's going to be really painful for the other guy. So we don't let you do that.
And there's always that one that wants to deviate from the process, and then it just, and then it's a train wreck after that.
Right.
Everyone down the line is going to have to change their model just because there's the one that
Oh
couldn't.
no, that's a big problem.
Yeah. But what's interesting to me is like everybody has to become more sophisticated. Like all the trades have to become more sophisticated to be able to work with this technology and this model and that type of thing. And it's good. It's good for the entire industry.
Yeah, it's just we are pushing each other, so there is
Exactly.
no choice. Especially when the next generation comes, they know they can pick easily. So.
Yeah.
And also currently what Yates is doing is we're trying to connect the old school with the young kids. So, we're grouping them together.
Yeah.
So the young kids are really good with the technology, but they don't have the experience, right?
Yeah.
So you can pick their brains, and these people know what they want, but they don't know how to use the technology. But when you combine these two groups together, that's going to be really powerful.
Yeah, no doubt.
Nice. Well
No
said.
doubt. What else? Anything else you want to get out there before we let you go? This has been a great conversation. I love this.
That's all I have.
All right.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Yeah, it's very informative. Love it. Yeah, it was good stuff.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Winding down, buddy.
Winding down day one.
Getting ready to wrap up day one. Yep. Got another great interview here. Super excited about this one.
Solid day so far.
It is. Yeah. And tomorrow's gonna. It's already shaping up to be another banger.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. I'm just not going to drink as much tonight.
Oh,
tomorrow will be so much better.
I highly doubt that, by the way, but okay.
I know. All right, we've got Amy with us. So, Amy, if you would, real quick, just self-introduction, just name who you're with and kind of what you do.
Sure. I'm Amy Northcutt. I'm with Trimble, and I'm the Director of Education and Outreach.
Education and Outreach.
Nice.
So,
Love that title.
Yes. So what does that mean?
So I sort of bridge the gap between universities and other educational institutions that are interested in incorporating Trimble technology into their curriculum, their research, their work in general, and also work with some of the Trimble products to make sure that they're going into that market appropriately.
Okay. So like what, I don't know, what majors or whatever do you target then to get Trimble products into the universities and colleges and high schools and whatever?
Sure. Geosciences, geography, architecture, construction management, structural engineering, civil engineering.
Yeah.
There's plenty of more sort of nuanced majors that also apply, but those are kind of the main ones.
Those are the main ones, yeah, for sure.
Are all those majors have not a shortage of students, but is it, well, yeah, let's say it. Like, is there always more students needing to be in those majors than the industry needs?
It seems like that at this point, for sure.
Right. So it's not just us.
Yeah. No, I think all across the industry, right? We're seeing a labor shortage.
Definitely. So what do you love about your job?
The people are the best. Educators are often really passionate about what they're teaching and their sort of subject expertise. And I love getting to meet anyone who really loves their job and does it with passion and gusto. And I find that a lot of educators, it's a hard job. And so you have to have that passion in order to really be successful and make a lot of difference in students' lives.
Yeah. Well said. So is it like an easy sell kind of what you're doing? I mean, Trimble's, if not the biggest, one of the biggest names in the industry. And it comes with a lot of credibility, like what does that look like for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Right. I think when you think about the overall workflow for any one of these individuals in a major, right? They're not only going to be interacting with this specific technology that they do their job with, they've also got to interface with their peers in their, in the adjacent industries or business areas. And they've got to be able to look at that technology, understand what they're receiving, and then produce content for others that they need in a different way. And so because Trimble's able to really cover a large span of that workflow, right? We do have a bit of a unique, opportunity.
Sure.
So I guess what we talk about a lot is we call them the kids, and the kids these days. And I'm going to speak broadly for a second. They love the video games, so all this technology they should jump right on it, and that's what really gravitates them and should gravitate them to this industry. Is that a correct assessment?
Totally, right. We have SketchUp for Schools, which is in almost 4 million students' hands around the globe. And the reason that they take that up so quickly is because it feels natural to them. It's common. It's expected, right? It's exactly what they're expecting to see.
Yeah. So what does a typical day look like for you?
That's a great question. I would say every day is a little different, which makes makes my life fun, right? I don't necessarily like to do the same thing every day, but I'm often meeting with educators. I'm meeting with internal folks around Trimble to make sure that we're designing our programs and our products to really suit the educators, and just constantly trying to build those bridges really between Trimble and educational institutions around the world.
Yeah. Is your goal to be the go-to geospatial, or I guess hardware provider in the educational space?
Seems like a good goal, right?
Yeah. That would be my goal if I was in her shoes.
Yeah, absolutely, right? We certainly want students to graduate from university, or even elementary school, and go into high school and continue in the trades and say, I understand Trimble technology, and that's what I would prefer to use in my job.
So what outreach are you doing then before in that high school and in that area?
Yeah. So SketchUp for Schools is a free product that is available on Google and Microsoft Schools platforms.
Okay.
And so students around the world can access that for free right now. And that's exactly what we're trying to do is get technology into hands of students around the world in an easily accessible platform that they already have access to.
What kind of things can the kids do with SketchUp for Schools?
They can model things. They can design all sorts of structures, buildings, landscapes. Let's see. Really, it's all about 3D modeling and then going into rendering.
So is that going to be what the science fairs are going to look like? Right. Where it's not just the paper mache volcano, but it's just a screen and a laptop and like, hey, look what I built in this 3D space?
Sure. But they could also take that 3D print those. Sure. And so then that could be a physical object that they could bring, to the science fair.
Those are some fancy middle schools.
Awesome.
But yeah, it is pretty amazing.
Yeah. Talk about the importance of collaboration, not only with the schools, but even internally within Trimble to make this a success.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say, collaboration is the underpinning of everything I do, right? I can't do any of this by myself. It takes an entire village of people at Trimble and then out in the community who are interested in engaging with us in order to make this possible, truly.
Yeah. And what kind of response do you get from those people you're outreaching to when you say, hey, I have these things that we're doing?
It spans, it's a total wide range. It depends on who you're talking to, right? Because some people may have technology that they've been using for years and years, and they don't know about this technology. I'm thinking educators is who I'm thinking of right now, right? And then there's also newer folks coming into the industry who are kind of seeking something that they can utilize, and they love to be able to grab SketchUp and use it really quickly and easily.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm thinking of both sides. One of they want to do things and don't know what's out there, and another that maybe has some antiquated equipment and doesn't realize what else they can be doing and offering to their current curriculum.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think it's really tough for educators these days to keep up with their personal area of expertise and what they're teaching and the technology that sits on top of that.
Yeah. So talk a little bit more about that, and where do you and Trimble come into play to help them?
Yeah, we try to create curriculum around some of the various technologies so that people can easily kind of plug that into the work that they're doing in schools. And we're continuing to develop that on a very regular basis. I hope you'll see more coming from us next year in terms of easy onboarding solutions for students and educators.
Oh, okay.
Are there any other corporate teammates, I guess, that you work with in order to push this? Does that make sense?
Kind of.
No, I guess partners, corporate partners that you work with. Is there such a thing?
Well, sure. Maybe on the equipment side, if you're talking about construction.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, some of Caterpillar, for instance, right, is a joint venture with Trimble, and a lot of institutions, universities already have a partnership with Caterpillar. And so they're coming in and they're saying, hey, we have this equipment. How do we put Trimble Kit on top of that, right? How do we use that together? And so that really kind of brings those already existing partnerships in the industry into the education world as well.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we got there.
It took a little bit. It's the end of the day.
Yeah, right.
I knew what I was trying to say.
What else do you want to get out there? What haven't we talked about?
I think it's just really important for the next generation to understand that the industries that we're serving here are technology enabled, right? They're not just getting into construction or surveying to go, out there with a hammer or a shovel or, a measuring tape, right? They're learning new, novel ways to do things. And I think that's really exciting for people entering the industries.
Yeah. Before I let you go, talk about workforce development a little bit. I know that's also something you're passionate about.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. The industries that we're serving have labor shortages across the board. And so what we're trying to do is really expand access to this technology to communities that haven't historically had access to that. So for instance, we just established a Trimble Technology Lab at Florida A&M University here in the U.S., which is a historically Black college. And so, that community necessarily hasn't had the access to Trimble technology. And so we're trying to really build partnerships and make it easier for people to know that this is a possibility and then get access to the technology in addition.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Sounds like you're in the fight with all of us.
Yeah.
Spread awareness, let people know about the different careers that are there, and sounds pretty amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I used to be a structural engineer, and so I sat in the industry. I was starting to I used Trimble technology. I used Tekla Structures in my job. And then I joined Trimble to join the tech world and kind of proliferate this idea throughout the industry, right? Because I thought that we were doing something really interesting with technology that other structural engineering firms weren't necessarily doing. And then once I got into that role, I realized we needed more young people there.
Right.
Yep. We need more students. So here I am.
Yeah. Love the energy. Love the passion. How do people find out more?
Education.trimble.com.
Okay. Perfect.
Just that easy.
There you go.
Awesome. Amy?
I'm good. Are you good?
I'm good.
All right. Thanks for the time, Amy.
Yeah. Appreciate everything.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks so much for having me.
You bet.